In today's video, I will show you exactly how you can rebuild a starter for a Lotus Evora. So if your vehicle has trouble starting, every time you want to start it, nothing happens. Literally, you put the key in there and you turn it over and you press the start button and all you hear is one click. It doesn't even attempt to start whatsoever. Chances are your starter has seized up or has stopped working completely. These vehicles require a lot of power to turn over, and the starter pretty much goes bad very quickly, especially if you have water or liquid leaking into the starter. Chances are it will not even make it to the first oil change before it needs to be replaced. All right, so to remove the starter, you got to remove the intake completely. There's 3 bolts holding it, and there's a metal clamp in the corner that you have to remove. Also, the plug, you just simply unplug it there as well. That is how the intake looks like. Once you remove the intake, you'll be able to see the starter. If you see the red cap, that is directly attached to the starter. So to remove the starter, first you got to disconnect that red cap, remove that 14mm bolt. There's one 17mm bolt in the very back, a 10mm bolt holding the starter. It's like a metal bracket that goes around. You have to remove that as well, and another 14mm on top. Once you put the hoses to the side, you'll be able to see the starter. As you can see, I have removed my starter and it is extremely dirty. It has a lot of grime on it and it definitely needs to be rebuilt. Also, you will need a wire brush in order to clear out all the grime and dust that has built up. That way your starter looks good when you put it back in. And this is the bracket. It requires that you remove 2 10mm bolts in order to pull the starter out. This bracket makes it very tricky to put the starter back in. And now let's start the process of rebuilding this starter. The first thing that you want to do is clean it up. You do not want to be holding a dirty starter. It will make your hands very dirty. So get a wire brush and simply scrape off all the grime and dust that has built up over time. So to remove it, you have 2 very long bolts. I want to say they are a size 8mm. So once you remove those, you'll be able to pull it out completely. So once you remove those long bolts, you'll be able to remove the top end of the starter and you'll be able to see the inside. As you can see, there's a lot of dust and grime and corrosion inside. And when we take a look at the other part, you will see that it is dirty as well. A lot of grime and corrosion on this starter. So what you will need to do is pretty much clean everything before you start assembling it. And this is the new piece that I got off of eBay. Somebody recommended this piece in a forum, so I ended up ordering it. It was like 17-18 bucks. With shipping, it was like $22, but it is definitely worth it. These starters are extremely expensive. As you can see right now in this photo, it is almost $2,000 for a brand new starter. Why spend all that money when you can literally rebuild your starter for around 20 bucks? So once you remove those 2 long bolts, you're gonna have 2 short ones that you need to remove as well. Once you remove those, you're going to see the main part of the starter, the part that goes bad very quickly. And this is the exact part that we ordered. So you're going to take a screwdriver and remove that top clip. That clip is easily removed, so simply slide it off and put it to the side. And now you'll be able to slide that part over. As you can see, this one is very corroded. It has seized up completely and it is in very bad shape. Just look at the difference between the two. One is new, one is totally gone. As you can see, corrosion everywhere. Even the wires are exposed. It's seized up completely. I tried moving the parts and they wouldn't even budge. So the starter was very bad. When we take a look at all the other pieces, they are very dirty as well, very grimy with a lot of corrosion. So you're going to have to clean up everything. Use a metal brush, use some WD-40, some parts cleaner, and get it cleaned up. So if you want to buy this exact same rebuild kit that I purchased under 20 bucks, I will have a link for it in the description box below. So make sure you check it out. Also, if you are overpaying for your car insurance, I highly recommend you check out the car insurance comparison tool that I have in the description box below. Why overpay for your car insurance when you don't have to, especially if you got an Evora? So now I have officially cleaned up everything. The starter looks almost new in my opinion. And this is the time where we are going to reassemble everything and put it back together. As you can see, the inside looks way better than before. Obviously, it is not in perfect condition, but I did my best cleaning it. Even this piece, it came out looking great. You will be surprised what a wire brush can clean. And now the new part, the cap, is clean as well. No more grime, no more dust in there. So everything is ready to be fully assembled. I also cleaned the small clip as well. I also cleaned the bolts and made everything clean. And one final look at the new piece and the old piece. I'm surprised that this starter even worked. It suddenly gave out simply because it seized up, but the new one, I believe, is going to work much better than this one. As you can see, this thing is completely destroyed, completely corroded. And now, without wasting any more of your time, let's quickly rebuild this starter. So the first thing that you have to do is take the main piece and hold it. Once you hold it, you're going to take this part and you're going to slide it in. Make sure that it rotates. If you don't put it in all the way, it has to click in there and the magnets will pretty much keep it in place. Once that is fully in place and it is secured, you're going to take the new piece that you ordered and you're going to slide it on top. This is where you're going to have to use two hands, and this is probably the most difficult part of rebuilding the starter. All those 4 copper pieces, you're going to have to push those inward and then slide it on top. You're definitely going to have to use both hands for this. It is a little tricky, but after about 1 minute messing with it, it will be able to push all 4 back and slide it on. Once it is slid on, you're pretty much halfway done. Then you're simply going to take the metal clip and you're going to attach it. Just make sure everything is balanced. Make sure the black wire is positioned properly. There is going to be a small groove on the starter where the rubber piece will go. So as you can see right here, it perfectly aligns, and then you can put the cap back on. Once the cap is on and everything is aligned properly, you can take the long screws and put them in. So once the long screws are in, you should be ready to put the 2 small ones and connect the ground wire to the starter. But one thing that I do want to mention, if you did everything correctly so far, simply put in the screws, tighten everything up, and you're ready to go. But if you did something wrong, the long screws are not going to align properly. As you can see where my thumb is, there's a small groove and a small little bump on the starter that has to align properly in order for you to be able to put those long bolts back into the starter. So if you find yourself in a situation where you pretty much put the cap back on and you try to put in the long bolts, but they simply do not go all the way through, this is what you have to do. Simply remove the long bolts and you're going to be able to split the starter in 2. As you can see, this cap right here is to the bottom end of the starter. That is where underneath of it, you're going to see a couple of gears. It is very greasy. You do not want to clean this area much unless you have new grease to put in. But if you don't, simply clean the top and you should be ready to go. Keep that grease in there. That keeps everything lubricated. But after you remove the cap, you're going to see 2 holes in there, and you have to align the cap properly so both of the holes, in one of them, you can directly see through it to the bottom. So that is how you're going to know that it is aligned properly. Once you have aligned this part properly, you can simply put the back part back on and align that small little hole into that groove, just like that. And once that is aligned, you should be ready to put the long bolts back in, and they should fit perfectly. Once the long bolts are in, simply take the 2 smaller screws and screw those in as well. And now I have fully rebuilt this starter. I have attached the ground wire as well, put in all the screws, tightened everything up, and now it is ready to be put back in the car. The entire rebuild process took about 30-40 minutes simply because I spent more time cleaning all the parts than actually rebuilding the starter. So if you have a very dirty one, that is where it will take up most of your time. But the rebuild process itself literally takes 5 to 10 minutes. So to put the starter back into the vehicle, you gotta attach the metal clamp around it. Put one 10mm bolt in it and then save the other one for later. And the most trickiest part is aligning it back into the vehicle. Once you put the metal clamp around it, simply throw the starter back in, put everything back together, and your car should start up perfectly. Especially with the new rebuild, you should have no problem starting your Lotus Evora. All right, everybody, that concludes this quick video. Make sure to like, subscribe, see you in the next video. Peace out.